Hello everyone, Jimmy is with you, and today we will have cool and interesting stories as usual. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we are starting. The first story will be from user Throwaway. Let's listen. This has been going on for a while, but I just learned about it recently. About a month ago, I had just come back from a 2-month-long business trip, and we were both chilling in the living room after the kids all went to bed. We've been slept about once a month, depending on her mood, for several years now. And after I returned from that trip, she jumped my bones, which seemed normal after such a long time. She was sitting at the computer and I was watching TV when I overheard her sniffling. So I asked her if she was okay. She said no, and told me she doesn't love me anymore, and wanted us to see other people I was stunned but cordial about at the time, and hugged her and said it's okay and that I still love her, and was willing to listen to what she had to say. She said she hasn't done anything and didn't really get into any specifics, but we talked for a good while and I thought we were okay. But after some Google research, I noticed all the cheating signs were there. She got in real good shape recently and lost about 50 pounds going to the gym twice a day, constantly taking selfies of her entire body at the gym and in tight-fitting clothes. She talks about me with her friends as if I am a huge unwise people. She's short and angry with me all the time. Now she keeps going out by herself, a lot. Even now when I'm writing this, she wanted to try a new position in bed, and I discovered vulgar messages of her and her love interest Boom. And now that I confronted her about those fake messages, they keep being deleted sometimes right in front of me without a thought. She is medically diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder and used to take Zoloft every day, since she was a teen up until this past spring when she met this guy. According to her, she stopped taking it to try and lose weight fast. Zoloft makes her hungry so that she would feel more desirable, not just by this guy she liked, but by everyone. She was tired of being overweight and wanted a new life before she got old. She thinks 40 is old, I'm 40. But I still feel like I'm 25 fatter, but 25. Maybe this is her extreme way of telling me, I'm getting old and ugly. Lol. After a few weeks of her nasty behavior, I got real mad about the situation and demanded an explanation. She says she's become numb with the way I discipline the kids and wants me to stop. Okay, what? She neglects them about 80% of the time, which my older two absolutely despise because they have to parent the younger ones all the time when I'm not around. When I came back from my 2-month trip, the house was a complete disaster. It took me and the kids about a week to clean it all up. I'm not good at arguments. So she makes me feel like shit when she tells me I've raised the kids bad. In her family, they walked around nude like 50% of the time, and her dad never got involved with any discipline, so she thinks I should be the same. She tells me because of my actions, she doesn't want to be together anymore, and wants us both to have the freedom to be happy with someone else. We've had arguments and spats in the past, but nothing that was as earth-shattering like this. Like, it took you 17 years to figure this out. I call bullshit about the neglect. It's prevalent everywhere. Not just with the kids, but with them. It's hardly perceptible because of our two oldest. But as an example, I've recently been getting emails from school about how our little one goes to school without socks or his backpack sometimes, which are both necessary. But since I go to work before they all get up, it's difficult for me to take care of that. She's also a big Amazon deal shopper and buys almost every deal she thinks we can use. It's almost like living with a hoarder. We have bins upon bins of crap inside and outside the house. We'll never use mainly because we forgot. We have it and buy another. If it wasn't for my insistence on having a clean house, all the stuff in the bins would be in piles lining pathways around the house. If I didn't ever ask her to clean up her side of the bedroom or her bathroom, it would never get done. It's a disaster. Even now, I had to hire a maid to come out twice a week and help clean up now that our toddler loves to explore the house. The kids have chores, but unless I get after them about it, it won't get done. Because my wife doesn't care. It's been like this since we've been together. It just got a lot worse over the past year. I thought it would get better over time, but it really hasn't. About the open marriage suggestion, even if I wanted to be with someone else, open marriages aren't recognized as legitimate arrangements in my line of work and could land me in a lot of trouble. I've told her this and she said, it's not their business and we can do what we want as long as we are discretionary about it, basically keeping a huge secret from my superiors. But I'm thinking this open marriage idea will only benefit her since any kind of dishonesty with my superiors is sniffed out with severe consequences. Anyway, we had a big fight a few days ago about all this again, and now she wants to separate permanently because she hates me. So I'm on the couch. She doesn't want a divorce because of the loss of work benefits for the kids, and her, I'm sure, but she wants it to be just like that. We went to marriage counseling independently last week and combined session today, but I didn't disclose my full cheating suspicions to the counselor. He's just trying to get us to discuss important topics together, which I'm all for, more discussion and not trying to have her stomp out or deny her infidelity. That's what earned me the couch. The counselor even suggested I get one-on-one grief counseling for my depression right in front of her, which I'm totally doing. Because this sucks, I need meds. She was my college sweetheart, who I fell in love with. We used to talk together every night, but that sort of stopped about 5 or 6 years ago when she began going to bed much later than me. I loved those sessions when we synced up and talked about our day. I really miss her thoughts and wish she'd completely comprehend that. She's still loved regardless of what she does to me. I want her back, but I don't think that will happen anymore. Like I told my sister, it feels surreal, like I'm watching someone destroyed in slow motion. My sister tells me she knows I'm a great father because the kids love me and she's seen me in action. She knows I've had to be the disciplinarian this entire time and said that it's not fair. She said I shouldn't listen to what my wife says about me because it isn't true. But I've been with this person for 17 years and I've trusted her completely with everything. Oh, and I have a cold sore. Now never had one before, thanks best friend. Author edited the story. Actually, I think it's just a weirdly placed pimple because it looks nothing like a gross cold sore image. Woo. Second edited. So I know Redditors say, do it, get that divorce. And I didn't want to talk about specific details where I work, but I probably should say I'm in the US military and we're overseas. So if I get a divorce right now, the entire family moves back to the States while shit gets sorted. I'll have to spend money to hire lawyers to defend me over there. If I get the kids, I'll be a single parent looking for someone to help while she parties elsewhere without obligations. So maybe staying here is the worst option for her. Plus, my state has a weird law where you have to be living there in the state for at least half a year before you can divorce. There's probably a loophole for that, but that's what I've read so far. I did inform her. I was filling out divorce papers, and she seemed to sober up about it. We talked about her pervasive neglect and discussed ways to overcome it. But she's still adamant about an open marriage. I was raised very religious, so it's difficult for me to really be okay with that, even though I don't go to church anymore. Plus, I'm pretty sure the military would frown on it, though she says she absolutely won't if I found someone and she knows she could leverage my adultery against me with the UCMJ conduct, unbecoming regardless of our open marriage agreement. But you know, it's been 17 years, so maybe I can trust her and maybe a change of scenery will do us both good. What I think about it, I have read your story completely, and I am very sorry that you have to go through this, as, for me, such behavior on her part is completely inappropriate. No matter how much you are married, you should not forgive a person for such antics. Children love you and complain that their mother is not able to fulfill her duties. This says everything in many ways. Therefore, you should not even think that a change of situation will go for the better. I think you should find a person who will share your interests and support you in the moments when you need it. These are very important points that are necessary for every person. I hope that now everything is fine with you and you are moving in the right direction. I wish you all the best and that everything in life turns out as well as possible. User Lewis commented this story. Life is about choices. Right now, she's choosing someone other than you or your family. That being the case, tell her she has until Sunday to find a place. If you have a savings account, close it. Give her half and wish her luck. Tell her you'll give her the time and space to choose what she wants to do. It's not indefinite though. A couple of weeks is more than enough, but she can't stay in the house while she decides. Tell her that at the end of the 2 weeks, you are taking her off your work benefits, and you're taking custody of the kids. She wants freedom. You're giving the little bird freedom to fly away and never look back. There will be hurt and sadness, but not as much as if you would continue to give into her fantasies that sadly do not include you. Peace. God is with you. Second story from the user-friendly local NPC. Let's listen. My fiancé and I recently got engaged, and when looking at dates, we realized our anniversary falls on a Saturday this year. Perfect, right? We immediately start planning because it's approximately 9 months out, and we have to move quick to pull a wedding together. We told everyone the potential date this weekend, and all seemed well. Monday, I get a phone call from my father. He insists that I move the date because my mother has a yoga retreat that weekend. I tell him that this date means a lot to me, and I would prefer to keep it if there is any way to move the retreat. There is, but it's expensive. I offer to pay for this change out of my wedding budget, essentially halving the amount that I can spend on the most important event of my life. Yesterday, I was told that they would not be taking my offer to pay to move the retreat, and that we're expected to move the wedding instead. I haven't put money on my venue yet, so they think I should be fine with giving up the chance to marry on a date that means a lot to me. It became a massive fight, and now my parents and I aren't speaking. My father accused me of caring about a date more than I care about my mother. I told him that it felt as though they were choosing yoga over their own daughter. Author update this story. Hey everyone, it's been a while, I forgot my password. But a few people asked for updates on how my last post turned out. Unfortunately, a lot of you may not like the answer. Almost all of you said not to change the date and to enjoy my time without them there. I followed half of that advice. I eventually did relent to my family and changed the date of the wedding. My fiancé, now husband, said that the date wasn't as important as my happiness, and the fighting with my parents was destroying that. Now, after 6 months, we both wish we hadn't because it was useless. They still didn't show up. Not only that, but they convinced 90% of my family not to show up either. I ended up with only 4 relatives there, in a crowd of about 100 guests. My mother claimed that I had been excluding her from planning by scheduling venue tours on days that my fiancé and I were both free, but I didn't realize she was working, and by finding my dress by surprise on a just here to look trip without her being there. They hadn't shown any interest in planning, so I mainly didn't want to bother them. To them, this was clearly a sign that you don't want us there, so they went out of town on the new date. In the end, narcissist mother still got her yoga, I still moved my date, and I still walked myself down the aisle. But my petty self did, in fact, strike back. I had an amazing time, and I made sure that I left obvious empty seats marked for them, and told everyone the truth with a smile when they asked. The few family members that did show are now no longer speaking to them either, as are all of the friends who came. The only exception is my brother, who I'm pretty sure they asked to relay the details of the party to them, and even he has almost entirely cut them out due to how they've acted. I haven't spoken to my mother since about a month before the wedding, when she told me to get all of my old things out of her house. I speak to my father very rarely, and only over things like deaths in the family. My in-laws have basically taken me in as their own, and I'm far happier than I ever was in the nightmare of a family I grew up with. Life is good. What I think about this story. I had read the original one and the update before, and I know that people are and were calling OOP a doormat when she changed the dates. But yeah, she now can go with a clear conscience and having the moral high ground whenever anyone tries to guilt trip her about going NC. The background one I hadn't read before, but now knowing that OOP identifies as NB makes it very clear why the parents actively dislike her. Let's check the user comment. All this is unfortunately relatable. I changed the officiant of my Muslim marriage from a Shia masjid to a Sunni masjid to make my parents happy. I preferred this Shia masjid because they were more welcoming to my husband and I being of different faiths, and also moved the dates up by a month. And after that, my dad still decided to cut me out of his life, LOL. It's easy to tell people to grow a spine, but it's really hard to see clearly when you've been given conditional love your whole life in an emotionally abusive household. You get used to twisting yourself into a shape that will be more lovable to those around you, not realizing that they didn't have love to give in the first place. Thanks to everyone who was here today. I hope you liked this video. Do not forget to write your opinion in the comments. I love everyone. Bye-bye.